Yo, this is episode 5 of the... No? Yeah, it is episode 5. It's episode 5 of the Fanema Movie Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, E. That's G, and we're here to talk about movies. That was a bit much. But, yeah, kind of slow news week here. Slow news week, but I'm going to come in with some rants. Wonder Woman's delayed to 2020 actually.
Yeah.
LeBron James is trying to bring Friday the 13th back. Netflix needs to have some theatrical releases. And are movies getting worse, or is everybody just going to see the same trash? We discuss that and more on the Fanema Movie Podcast. What do you think of that intro? You think that'll stick?
It's a bit much, but I think the audience will.
I don't know if I
it.
can sustain it. Like, say this podcast does really well and we sustain this thing for like 20 years. And I don't know, I'm a 45-ish-year-old man and I'm like, Fanema Movie Podcast. I don't know. Of course, we could just keep the soundbite and replay it, but that's looking too far into it. Anyways, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing good. There's something happening behind me, but, you know, we're here to talk about
What are you talking about? You talking about Yasiel Puig?
Yeah.
Saluting the national anthem? Yeah, that's going on. World Series is going on at this time, and we can't miss that, of course. But we're here to talk movies, of course. That's a podcast for another time. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. I don't know. The time will tell. But first on the list, first on the ledger, Wonder Woman moves its date from November 2019 until May 2020. My initial thoughts were that this is just typical DC messing another thing up. Whatever they do, I just always assume the worst now, you know? And I hate that. But the more I thought about it, I do think that it sort of makes sense to put Wonder Woman, just plant that flag in the middle of summer. If you can't get it out by summer 2019, I do think that summer 2020 is a prime spot for Wonder Woman, and it kind of clears up their schedule because we know our release calendar so far. We have December, we have Aquaman. Then Shazam comes out in the summer. Then Joker comes out October of next year. And so we would have had Joker and then Wonder Woman immediately after. So I think it gives a little time to breathe. Hopefully. What are your thoughts?
I remember seeing this like on Instagram. I think Gal Gadot herself.
Yeah, she posted.
Yeah, it was just
It's
like
a good post.
Yeah.
She said, where it's always supposed to be, or where it's supposed to have been all along. Wonder Woman came home. I don't know. That's a nice PR move, but
yeah, I wasn't too like.
I'm upset. I wanted to see it. I love
I forget
Wonder
when
Woman.
it was supposed to come out.
November 2nd or so. It was like early November of next year.
Oh, okay, wow.
And now we have to wait until May 2020, which seems so far away.
Oh, so mostly it wasn't due to like reshoots or anything. It was
No.
just they just decided to do this.
Well, as far as we know at this point. Who knows? They could be waiting to see. And this is another thing. They might, with Aquaman coming out, Shazam coming out, they might see the reception of both of those. And depending on how those play out critically and as far as fans go monetarily, they might rework the entire universe, and that would give them a little bit extra time to do so. Maybe with small scenes, maybe with Easter eggs, cameos. If they do well, who knows? They could tease a new Justice League that basically replaces Superman with Shazam, which I think is a terrible idea.
Yeah, because I mean, I was thinking about the few clips that we've seen from the Joker movie, and seeing Wonder Woman's success initially in the box office and with the fans and critics. I mean, they're going in a great direction from what I'm seeing, and I still haven't seen much from their other projects. I think that was like the Sirens movie that I was.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Oh, they were completely.
Nah, I mean they say it's happening, but I just don't think so. I don't think we'd see that thing until like 2022, and so it's completely off my radar. We just have too many things coming out. We'll probably have, Infinity War's coming out by then, just on the Marvel side. We'll probably have a Captain Marvel 2 before we see any of that, you know?
Yeah. Wait, I think The Flash, did The Flash get any news? Like the movie itself?
Dude, they've had like 7 scripts written for that thing, and as many directors. They delayed it again until 2020, 2021, I think, at the very earliest. They said that movie will come out 2021, which I don't even know. Why even tell me? I don't even want to know. You know, just I'm so frustrated with the DCEU right now. I just don't want to hear a word until they say it is shooting or like we have a trailer. I just, this news bothers me. I hate this release news for them because if other studios would think, I hate making the comparison, but think about Marvel. If they say a movie's coming out in 2020, guess what? The movie's probably coming out in 2020. If the DCEU says 2020, it's either A, not happening, B, not going to happen until 2023, or C, they're going to act like it's happening with 20 release dates before we even get a director on.
Yeah, but I was thinking mostly in the sense of, yeah, like the trust that they have with the fans is what bothers me a lot. Yeah, the whole thing that you've just said about not having clear cut, dates and, to be relied upon with both like journalists or anyone. Like you hear these complaints a lot, like, the whole, like if they say it's coming out in 2020, it's usually like you add like +2.
And don't you think it's a lot suspicious with how many directors they've gone through for each project? They go through directors like nothing, man. It's like a dime a dozen to them. You just hear every month your director so-and-so leaves DC because of creative differences. Director so-and-so leaves because of creative differences. I mean, are they not letting them do what they want at all? Are they trying to force them into making a movie they simply don't want to make? I don't know. I don't get it.
We've also recently received the news about James Gunn and
James.
Suicide Squad.
Okay, so yeah, that's. Don't get me wrong. I'm rooting for DC, and I love that they've announced. Like, I love the announcements they make. I just hate that most of them never come to fruition. You know, these announcements like James Gunn writing Suicide Squad 2, great. Get him to direct it and get that thing out as fast as you can without rushing it. You know. Don't just tell me James Gunn is going to write it and then let that script sit for 2 years before you even get a director on. Like Batman. We should have had a Batman, like, even by their plans, Batman should have been out in October of this year.
Yeah.
Or last year, actually. October 2018, I believe. 2017. Either way, we should have had a Batman standalone film. And now we don't even have a fully written script, which is odd. Superman's done. Yep. I can't even get excited for the DC television universe. I know it's exciting to think, oh, the original Flash from the 90s is suiting up in his original suit. Stephen Amell, to get on a TV tangent real quick, in that Flash uniform looks terrible. I look at cosplays on Instagram. They all look better than that. I'm sorry. I love Stephen Amell. And I love him as a Green Arrow, but that suit is not flattering, man. It's not good. It doesn't look professionally made. Looks like they went to the Spirit Halloween store the day after Halloween and got the one that was crumpled up in a bag on the floor that nobody wanted at a half-price discount.
Now, I didn't want to mention this, but sticking to this DC theme here.
Yep.
We recently saw images of Bane.
We're not even from Gotham?
Yeah.
Stop. Moving on, we're going to the next topic. I'm not touching on that one. I'm not touching that. So Wonder Woman, please deliver for me. I need it.
We got Patty Jenkins,
Yeah, we got Patty Jenkins, but Steve Trevor can't come back. I've said it a million times. If he comes back and it works, then Patty Jenkins is a legend in my book. If they can bring Steve Trevor back and make it work, after making me think the man died, and I mourned. I mourned the death. It's like a death in the family.
Wow. And
if they bring him back and it works for me, then salute. I will put Patty Jenkins on Mount Rushmore. But we got another story that annoys me for a reason separate to the story. The story annoys me as well. LeBron James, that's right, the basketball player LeBron James, apparently may produce a new Friday the 13th movie, which is not surprising at all to hear Friday the 13th is trying to get off the ground, because it's been trying since 2011 to no avail. And now with it smashing at the box office, led to Halloween being a huge success, everybody's going to try and hop on this train. You're going to see every every known face, known property in the horror genre come back right now.
Well, they've tried it with Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Leatherface.
A billion times.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those last two remakes were awful. The Friday the 13th remake was absolutely terrible. That not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. The most recent Friday the 13th I didn't mind. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't mind it. It's a decent slasher in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. We've heard this story so many times with Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what could
it's
you
like
really...
the Flash of the horror genre.
What could you really do? That's like that's a different question.
The thing is, I think that with slashers, I think it's so easy, to be honest. I don't understand why they have these problems. I think it's a rich premise that you can just endlessly mine because people are always the same. They think the same things entertain and scare. You have this slasher. You have kids at a camp. What else do you need? Just have memorable kills. Have a few 1-2 characters that you care about.
Yeah.
Even loosely. Just give me Jason wrecking house, man. And I don't want to because that's not true. Because we had Rob Zombie's Halloweens and that was Michael Myers wrecking house. That didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't see what's that difficult. I know it's difficult, but as far as movie making goes, it's not rocket science here as far as, like, we're not making Schindler's List. We're making an hour 26 horror film about a guy with a hockey mask killing teenagers at a camp.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, what, like, if you were given, if I was creative control and, the reins to this movie. Because I remember, there was this, or it wasn't I'm guessing Freddy vs. Jason. I just remember there was this, or it's a spoof movie. I don't remember, but I remember there was like a corn maze involved, and usually that's always like that always gets interesting whenever you get Jason in a corn maze, and these kids are at a barn party, and
I mean, of course that could work, but I just want to barn party already makes me just nervous.
I mean, I remember you've had some of your rants on how they write characters of our age and our generation in these types of movies.
Oh my God, it's senior year, guys. We just got to party and get drunk. Oh my God. There's a guy with a mask, and it's like instead of going to the car, let's run to the damn lake.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
Yeah, like I literally think you're right in the sense like, give us one or two smart
you can make a dumb character or two.
Yeah,
that's fine. We want to see Jason kill them. But we want to have a character that, although yes, a lot of these times with these slasher movies, you root for the killer, which is kind of sadistic and all, but it's true. We want to have a character who we do care about and want to see through the end. That way, if you kill them, damn, that hurts.
I mean,
but if not, it just builds tension when there's someone that even if you don't realize that you care about them, that you don't really want to see them die. They're a good person, all that kind of stuff. But either way, I just imagine LeBron James casted as Jason Voorhees, and he's just like some 6'8" Jason just run. I mean, that's intimidating for sure, but I don't need to see Jason jumping 36 inches onto the porch.
Yeah, and it just reminds me of like the relationship in Halloween between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. It's this one, like, it's so good, the relationship between them, and it's like,
and I mean, what's better than a guy in a hockey mask killing for his mom at camp?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
But we'll see. We'll see.
I really do enjoy a couple of those Friday the 13th films. I like the first one a lot. The third one, of course, first appearance of Jason in the hockey mask, so that's something. They have Jason X.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I
was waiting for that one.
But yeah, I don't know. Horror is a fantastic genre, and I think that they're always the pioneers. Not always, but I think oftentimes they're the pioneers in film, and I think horror is the genre that people take the most chances, and I'm ready for someone to just take a chance with Friday the 13th because it's been so long. Give it to someone like I don't know, give it to Scott Derrickson.
Yeah. Derrickson, yeah.
I would love to see a Scott Derrickson Friday the 13th. So yeah, LeBron, I know you got money in the bag. put $5 million in it, give it to Scott Derrickson, make us scared. That's all I want. You'll get my money, probably twice. Another thing, I just checked out the movie Apostle on Netflix, new Netflix release, and I gotta say it's probably the most beautiful film I've seen all year. Terrifying though.
It's a horror.
Well, it's not terrifying as in, like, I didn't jump at all during the movie, but the imagery is gripping and it's visceral, and the makeup's incredible. It's incredibly shot. I mean, you got to check it out. But this just made me think more about. I mean, every time I see a great Netflix film, which isn't all that often, to be honest, they kill the series. They put a lot of terrible films out. But we always have some gems. I wish these movies would have theatrical releases. You know?
Well, yeah, because I was like recently, there's like a lot of movies. I remember seeing Mudbound.
Beast of No Nation.
Yeah.
And of course, if they think it has a shot at the Oscars, like a legit shot, they'll put it in a theater in LA for 2 weeks and all just to get, the necessary requirements. But it does beg the question, do you think that Netflix will ever have, hypothetically here, I know they have a ton of money. What if they open their own chain of theaters, started in the big cities and expanded, where you can go and see the Netflix releases in theater? Maybe just the big ones, whatever the case. You think, one, as much as I would love it, I think it's a terrible idea because people already complain about movie theaters. And if you have to pay to go see something that you already pay to see, I don't think people will go. Yeah. I would go. It might work in big cities like LA, New York, Chicago, which I would be down. I would travel to see Apostle in theaters, to be honest. But what do you think? Do you think that Netflix should maybe start pushing for theatrical releases for some of their bigger films?
It could be, yeah. But I was thinking about that point you just made about if people have access at home to their movie, to seeing this movie, most likely they'll just, do that. But there are those, select few, those, true to the art who would want to like us to see the example of to use Apostle as an example with its beautiful imagery and cinematography.
It's beautiful, but dude, it's messed up.
Yeah,
it's like a cult basically took over a full island. And I think this is in the early 1900s, maybe mid 19. I don't remember, but they kidnapped someone's daughter, and her brother has to come and try and save her, basically. But he's like, he comes to the island, basically trying to be part of the cult to try and blend in until he can find what's going on and all that. And I mean, it's incredible. I'm telling you, you got to check it out. Who's in it? Michael Sheen is incredible in the film. From Star Wars Episode 8, Captain Kennedy himself, Mark Lewis Jones. Terrific performance. I'm just becoming a bigger and bigger fan of him each time I see him.
Well, I was always thinking about, Martin Scorsese's, The Irishman.
Irishman, yeah.
Going to Netflix.
But the thing is, think about, and I think that has the star power that will lend itself to, a decent box office at least. But I heard they gave him, $200 million for this thing to make it. And we saw, what was that? Silence. Great film.
Oh, yeah, Silence.
It is long. It made no money.
Yeah.
It made no... I don't see myself ever watching it again. But it's fantastic. It's that's true art, there. Scorsese just delivered a fantastic film, but it's not something people want to see.
Yeah.
People don't want to go sit through a 2-hour 45 movie about a priest.
Jesuits.
A Jesuit priest going to save another Jesuit priest in Japan. Okay, that's wrong. I'll watch it again at some point. But it's not a movie I would have ever gone to see twice in a theater. But yeah, I don't know. Netflix. I just as such a fan of the theater going experience, I just get so frustrated sometimes when we have these really beautiful movies and we just don't get to see. I mean, I have a good TV and all, but it's a TV, It can only give you it can only be so immersive,
Yeah, because there's sound, there's those sort of elements that really...
Of course, it's gotten,
just really gives you goosebumps in the moments when they present themselves in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be down to go to a theatrical release of a really good Netflix movie.
Of course. Now, would you be down to go to a theatrical release of The Cloverfield Paradox?
You know, I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, lucky you.
Well, really?
Yeah.
What's that supposed to mean?
Lucky you.
That's all you're
What
gonna
it means is, I think Netflix owes me $1 back for that one.
Oh, okay. That was a movie, right?
Yeah, it was a movie, I guess. But this kind of feeds into a bigger thing I want to talk about today, and that's this whole thing with critics and people sounding off, especially Rotten Tomatoes. It astounds me that people, I think the mass audience doesn't know what Rotten Tomatoes is, and it astounds me that I really, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, look at the comments. I hate doing it, but I really genuinely think most of the people, they follow them. That's their choice. They go to Rotten Tomatoes and they think it's one guy behind a keyboard like, I'm going to rate this 38% because I hate your franchise. That's not the case.
Yeah, I remember seeing, like how other critics would, rant about, how a lot of people don't know about how Rotten Tomatoes specifically works. And there's a critic score and then there's an audience score.
Yeah, but forget the audience score. That means nothing to me right now. What matters to me right now is that we have it's the most accurate thing you'll ever find. I mean, it polls all these big critics, small critics, all the critics from all over the world, right? And it basically, if they give it a 6 out of 10 or higher, that's a positive rating. If they give it a 5 or lower, that's negative. So it's telling you the percent of critics from all around the world, all walks of life, that think that this was a good, I guess, or bad movie. I could rate something a 5 out of 10, and I could have enjoyed it. I just might not think it's that well made, If there's too many problems, like Venom, I would have given Venom a 4. I don't think it was well made. There's a lot of problems. I enjoyed some things, but I personally would not be able to, if I'm a film critic, I could not have given that a 6 out of 10, personally. 4 isn't terrible. 4 is not an F. I mean, if you're looking at things in and that's another thing. I think people look at it in a grading scale, a 50%, that's an F. If they thought it was an F, it would have been a 1 or 2,
Yeah.
And there's a big difference there. Just like there's movies that get 90%, 90 plus, 95. That just means that everybody thought it was at least a 6 or higher, There's plenty of movies that are in the 90s that have an average score of a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just, it bothers me. I think that if you keep checking Rotten Tomatoes just to get mad at them for not liking a movie that you haven't even seen yet, just look through the individual reviews.
Yeah.
Find a reviewer who you think aligns with your taste and follow them.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's the number one thing that I hear about, when it comes to, if you really want to know how a movie did, and if you should look for trusted critics that who
your taste aligns with.
That's the biggest advice, or
I mean, it's a, what else do you want to do? I just don't understand why and these people all follow Rotten Tomatoes. They seek out their page for these reasons. It's like, oh, what did they think about this? And then they get mad when they see it's bad.
Yeah.
It's and even so, say, I don't care. Say it's a 3%. 3% rotten, You may very well be part of that 3% that enjoys it. So, I mean, if you really want to see it, still go see it. But I just, it bothers me.
Yeah.
But another thing is, I was having a conversation with some people about the Halloween remake. I thought it was fantastic. Not as good as the first, but the best Halloween film in the franchise since the first.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's very close. And I just, these people tell me, I had a guy tell me Halloween is terrible, and I just hate how these Halloween and horror films are just getting worse and worse over the years. And it leads me to, it kind of goes back to Rotten Tomatoes, why people, even though they complain about it, they check it every week, because the fact is, there's dozens of movies being released every month, Every week we see, even if it's not a major release, we see 4 or 5 films released. You have a choice to go see. You can go see the big studio horror film, But for every studio horror film, there's probably 5 more, at least, that are smaller, don't get as much attention, but they're great or really good. And, I mean, if you're going to see Trick or Treat or Truth or Dare or...
like Bye Bye Man.
The Bye Bye Man. That's on you for continuing to go and see this stuff. Slender Man, don't even get me started. Like, there's so many. I mean, just this year, let's see. Let's see. I can name 5 terrible horror films and 5 great horror films of the last couple years. Slender Man, the Bye Bye Man, Truth or Dare. Hellfest wasn't terrible, but I don't think it was very
what
good.
About those like Friend Request movies?
Friend Request, I can't stand it.
The social media horror.
Yeah,
I don't forget.
Social media. I know there's a name for it, but equally we have on the other side of the coin, we have Raw, which is terrific. I thought it's terrific, but I mean, we have the Conjuring franchise, which Conjuring 1 is fantastic.
Yeah.
Conjuring 2 is excellent. Annabelle 2 is fantastic.
Annabelle Creation. Yeah.
Annabelle Creation, yep. And that's like Annabelle 1, not that good. But they learned from their mistakes, and they built to Annabelle 2. Same with the Ouija. The first Ouija movie, not good.
Mm-hmm.
Ouija Origin of Evil, fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't Breathe, Lights Out. The Devil's Candy. What's another good one? Apostle. It Follows. Wonderful. And the thing is, all these people who are complaining about these horror films, I doubt have seen a fraction of those,
It's one of the things that, like, this is sort of in the same sort of topic, but, like, it's like, oh, that didn't even scare me. And then they go based off that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And then, we talk about the nervous laughter that the laughter we hear in theaters.
People, I get it. Psychological thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to be scared, so you just laugh and try and make fun. But that's your own fault. That's a choice you make. And take it seriously.
Because I've recently also, it's hard for me because I'm not as, I can't argue with people about it. I just sort of just drop the conversation completely. I just listen to them, and I'm like, and you just look at them. You're like, there's this okay.
There's no way to. It's not just arguing for the sake of arguing. It's debate. It's like you're trying to get through to the person. They just don't listen. Yeah,
and that it is required. Like, both people have to be open to this, and that's something that I try for whenever people suggest things to me. And it's because you're just closing yourself off to all these great movies, It Follows, the ones that we just named.
I've had my opinion changed a million times.
Yeah,
by myself, by other people, I'm open to it.
Yeah,
and I think that if you're judging it, I think it's fantastic. And then there's people, it didn't scare me, so it's a terrible movie. It's not the case.
Yeah,
it's not the case. And I mean, I don't know what's so sad. What's so not? I mean, maybe it's not the most horrific thing. What do you want? Torture porn? I don't know. I thought it's pretty horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, Pennywise is waving a severed child's hand with blood all over his mouth.
I just remember, not knowing much about the character, and then seeing that opening scene where they were in the sewer, the drain. Or forget what it was called. Yeah, they had that. Literally, he just came out.
Great.
And he just bit his arm off, and I was like, okay, this is the tone we're setting for this movie. And the
other thing is every movie, and a lot of people it's not have you even seen The Exorcist? A lot of people say it's not The Exorcist, and they don't even know, they haven't even seen the damn movie.
Yeah.
Another thing, it's I heard somebody, Halloween isn't even scary. Halloween isn't scary. Were you scared by the original? I wasn't. That is great. I love the feeling of it. I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to sleep now. I love the feeling that it gave, though. It was scary. It was terrifying, just putting myself in the shoes of Laurie Strode, and I thought that Beyond That is a good movie on its own, aside from the horror aspect. But I don't know. People claim to love horror, yet they're not open to a single thing unless it scares the hell out of them, I guess.
Yeah, that they use that criteria.
Not even that. It's those kind of people, they want jump scares and that's it. That's so shallow of a movie, Yeah. I hate if a movie. I love a good jump scare. Don't get me wrong. I love when they earn it, and I love when they build off of it. Like James Wan is my favorite director as far as jump scares go, because he'll jump and get you, and then he'll build the tension off of that, and just he won't let it stop. He won't let you rest after it.
Yeah.
But if the Paranormal franchise and things like that, they've gotten to a point where it's just jump, jump. And The Purge, same thing. Jump,
Yeah.
And there's nothing after. It's just like, oh, we gotcha.
I mean, yeah, audience members you can already see how tired they're getting of like the fake jump scares. Like,
Yep.
they're like it's it could.
The thing is, they're not getting tired of it. They say they are, but they keep going to see the damn movies.
Yeah.
And then they complain about it.
Well, it's like
Buying the Blu-rays and I don't know.
Because yeah, there's all these great horror, like, I think we didn't like there's like Lights Out,
The Lights Out is fantastic.
like they're like it's legitimately scary topics. It's like
and like it's I don't know. Don't Breathe is one of my favorites of the last decade. Just because of the fear it puts in you while you're watching. I went to see that movie by myself in a theater. I was alone. And I was like holding my breath, And
how could we not talk about A Quiet Place?
Quiet Place.
That one.
Still perhaps my favorite movie of the year. I fluctuate between that and some other things, but it's like horror aspect aside, it's fantastic. It's just a great movie. And then I hear the same thing. It's not scary.
Yeah.
What do you want? Go. I don't know. Go rob someone and see what happens. Maybe you'll be scared then. I don't know. Go to jail.
It's like, what do you want? You don't get scared easy? What do you want, a cookie?
Yeah, it's like,
what are you trying to prove?
It didn't scare me. I just laughed. I thought it was funny. You didn't. I doubt. Usually when things aren't scary, I mean, laughing is just, I could go on about this, but laughing is just a response when you're uncomfortable being scared, Most of the times. You don't want to admit to being scared, so you laugh. I don't know. I just tired of it. I hate going into these horror movies, and whenever something scary happens, you oh, this is fucking dumb, man. Oh, bad word. Don't care. Yeah, horror movies. And the other thing I hate is when you tell people, people come up to me all the time and ask me, hey, what's good in the theater? What should I watch this week? And I give them the list, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And, breaking it down. What do you want to see? You want to see that? Yeah, here's this movie. Here's Blind Spotting. Here's mid-90s, Old Man with a Gun. Like, oh, I think I'll go see Skyscraper. Like, why do you even ask? Why do you even ask? And it's not like, I talk about movies all the time. But these cases, it's not like I went, hey, you should see this movie. They asked me. Like, hey, what should I see this weekend? Like, oh, Halloween's awesome. And they might see Halloween because that's a big franchise and all. But let me think of a good example. Over the summer, there was like, what came out? It was like the Skyscraper weekend. And I just always go back to Skyscraper because I did not think that was good. But yeah, anyways, I'm just gonna drop that. I just hate that, man. Like, hey, what should I watch this weekend? I give them like 5 options, 5 good options, and then they're like, oh, well, I think I'm just gonna go watch The Meg again. And then they're gonna come back and complain about how movies are trash now. Nothing's original in Hollywood. Everything's a remake. It's not. For every remake, there's like 30 original films that you're just not watching. They're there. And it's like, I don't want to put in the effort. You don't even got to put the effort. Go on Fandango. They got a list. It's all there. It's like, well, I want to see this movie. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't know what. Okay, that's fine. But there's like 5 movies with 95% out right now, and you're going to complain about the one with a 30. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, it's going to be ongoing.
Mid-90s coming out this week. That's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got things to look forward to.
I went on A24's website because I didn't know they were giving away like free fingerboards, like mid-90s fingerboards.
Oh, my God.
They're all sold out. They gave them all away. I was too late. I was like, damn, I'm going to have G come over. We're going to think about making like a tech deck ramp in here. I was going to have a whole skate park on my floor.
I wonder if I still got it.
My Ollie 360 to the... I'm not even going to get into this. I'm just going to embarrass myself, actually. I'm going to stop at the Ollie.
Yeah.
I tried the skateboard. It didn't work.
I think it was the shoes.
I don't think so. I think it was the me.
Oh.
But yeah, movies. It's kind of a slow news week. Let me ask you a question, though. Who is who's your prediction right now to win the Razzie for Worst Picture?
Oh, well. Now, see, that's tough.
Who's winning the Razzie right now?
I haven't seen a lot this year.
Worst Picture. It's got to be a blockbuster.
I would pass this one on to you since you.
I mean, but you know the blockbusters of the year, you know?
It's like can't remember. Yes, like.
But, okay, and the Razzies are ridiculous. I hate the Razzies. Ben Affleck won for Batman v Superman for Worst Actor, which I think that's a crime. It's a crime. Yeah, he's not Daniel Day-Lewis, but I thought he was phenomenal as Bruce Wayne and Batman. Certainly not the worst performance of the year. So we're going to say the Razzie for 2018 is definitely going to... Yeah, I really got nothing, man. I was really leaning on you for this one. You deflected it right back. You hit me with that Uno card, that one that switches the direction, and
I was gonna ask you about about Pinocchio.
Oh yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah,
that's the power of an Oscar.
Because it's like I remember, I haven't really seen Pinocchio, but I know it's quite, for a Disney.
It's a dark movie.
Yeah,
it's dark.
It's a pretty dark movie,
but it's also beautiful.
Yeah,
and I think that is literally Guillermo del Toro.
I was about to say
dark but beautiful.
Yeah,
that's like if you're describing like his filmography, dark but beautiful.
Yeah, I would have described it any other way.
It's a perfect fit, and I think that this movie is something that he would have never gotten done if he hadn't gotten the Oscar, sadly. But fortunately, he did win the Best Picture Oscar, and so he gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
It's going to be stop motion, similar to Kubo and the Two Strings, Troll Hunters, which Guillermo did. He did Box Trolls.
Yeah.
Which Troll Hunters is a spin-off of that, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Check it out on Netflix. But I think this is perfect for Guillermo, He gets to play in a new sandbox once again. We know that he's proven in the stop motion form, and it's clearly a passion project of his because right now there's no reason for him to do anything but a passion project because you can get one,
Yeah, well, it's like how will this movie, it's Disney, right?
No.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, who owns this thing?
I'm pretty sure Pinocchio is what's it called when free domain. I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the Jungle Book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's free domain property, so anyone can just pick it up.
Oh, that makes
Similar
sense.
to Peter Pan and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because Disney didn't invent Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm really excited. You won't find a more passionate filmmaker in the world. And if he sinks his teeth into something, it's going to be great. It's going to be of a certain quality no matter what. I mean, if you look at all of his films, regardless of how well it was received or what you think, you can always see a certain level of passion. And I think that that's something that can't be taught,
Yeah. It's just nice to know that, this is directly in his wheelhouse.
Directly, yeah.
So it's
perfect.
It's like you're just going to expect great things out of this story.
Now, stop motion is considered animation, right?
I think so, yeah. I think it's part of that same category.
So, man, if Guillermo does this, don't be surprised if he gets the Best Animated Feature win. I'm excited also to see the voice cast he assembles for this thing. Because I'm sure, especially now with the Oscar under his belt, once again, I'm sure he's going to pretty much have his pick. Especially with voiceover acting. I mean, you do a couple hours in a booth and you're done.
Yeah.
So why not? But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this Pinocchio thing. I'm ready for some behind the scenes stuff because have you seen the behind the scenes video for Kubo?
Yes,
it's some of the best things to ever watch.
Yeah,
how they make these stop motion movies when they're good.
Yeah, the amount of detail, the amount of patience.
I'm not out here trying to see an early man featurette.
I was about to say, there's just seeing clips here and there on social media, just the amount of patience they go through of moving the characters and the attention to detail.
I'd pop a vessel in my eye trying to do that.
You can't just help but think about that scene in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
2 weeks. He's been working on it for 2 weeks.
Like a couple seconds long. But yeah, Guillermo del Toro is one of my absolute favorite filmmakers. I think that he's someone that, I aspire to be like that guy. He's just such a loving individual, and it's funny how he makes these films with his monsters.
Yeah.
Horrific imagery sometimes, and these characters that Pan's Labyrinth will give you a nightmare.
That one character, yeah.
But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. He has such a gift to make something so grotesque yet so elegant. And it's that's a hard thing to do. Hard seems like an understatement, Everything's difficult when you're trying to make a movie. That's just on another level. It's easy to make these things just scary, or just so nice that it's not scary. But he's found a sweet spot that he can sort of make these lovable monsters.
Yeah, and then, we saw it with The Shape of Water.
Do you think that Pinocchio's going to be played by Doug Jones, and he's actually not going to be stop motion? Doug Jones is just gonna pretty much put on a wooden exoskeleton.
I was thinking with that example that you brought up last time about who could play Stitch, Danny DeVito in a suit.
Danny DeVito in a furry suit. Yep.
I think we can call on Danny DeVito again
to do Pinocchio.
I think so.
Just put him in a log. Oh wait, no, he transforms into a real boy. What are we talking about?
Exactly. So I'm like,
DeVito in street clothes and some overalls.
There you go. You got yourself a movie.
Done.
Well, man, I can't. Once we get our hands on these types of projects,
done. We're gonna make some terrible movies. Okay, let me throw this last question out before we get out of here. We got free reign. We got as much money as we can imagine. Doesn't matter, $1 billion or 5 million, whatever we want to make. We can make any movie, any property. Nothing's off limits. What are you making?
I really want to get my hands on like a Western. I've been like, we recently saw a really good Western. We saw The Sisters Brothers. And I really...
That's after I showed you 310 to Yuma for the first time.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh yeah, and then Bone
Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk. And like, there's like so much there's like a lot you can do with Westerns. And it's like really nice, like with all the imagery and the storytelling. And it's like, yeah, it's Western.
A lot to mine because.
I remember we were talking about it specifically with with the amount of detail that one would pay attention to when it comes to like diseases and
like the quality of living overall.
Yeah, the quality of living back and how that can really, cause problems for our characters back in the old days.
I ate a bad peach.
Yeah, there you go. You're
Caught
done.
my stomach. I'm done, guys. I'm sorry. You got that rumble in your stomach. You better get,
But yeah, well, mostly I would for my real answer, it would probably be like some sort of sci-fi movie.
Yeah, yes. I think it's tough. There's so many things I want to do. To make me choose one.
You got all that money, like I'm
saying
Star Wars
you can
money.
make one. Yeah, I know it is. It is. Regardless of what I love, it's Star Wars. Let me make episode 10.
I knew.
Let me get my hands on it. I don't care if I'm hated by every Star Wars fan in the world afterwards. I'm going to put it all into that. Star Wars episode 10. It's going to be 9 hours long.
You'd probably retcon some stuff.
No.
Change the storyline?
Nope.
Oh, you just completely new characters.
No, it's just Rey. It's all Rey. Star Wars episode 10. Rey. That's it. All Rey edition. Actually, You know what? I'm just going to take episode 7 and I'm going to replace every character with Rey. Whatever the cost, and that's going to be my movie, which is J.J. Abrams' movie, but it's like the Eli reimagining. It's a terrible idea.
Make me interested to see what the opening crawl would be.
It would probably just say
Rey with the period at the end.
Just Rey. Now, on real talk, if I couldn't touch Star Wars I'll just say for the sake of argument, I am not going to choose an existing franchise, just to let creativity flow. Going back to the Westerns and the horrors, two of my favorite genres, I just have always thought combining both is a wonderful idea, and I would make a horror in the Western genre, Western time, Old West. There's just so much that can go wrong, and there's so little you can do for help, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, when it's dark, what are you going to do? Light a candle? It gets blown out. What if it's raining? What if you can't just call for help? What if you get a splinter in your toe? I mean, there's a lot going on. I think that having it as a monster movie would be interesting. Like a chupacabra type thing. That's what I think. That it wouldn't be the chupacabra, but I think it would be sort of like introduced as like this thing. You don't go outside at this certain time of night, you know, you don't do this and that. Yeah. That's what I do.
I can see that happening.
Horror
nice
Western.
I mean, you got that huge budget, and I'm like, it's all gonna take place in a little town.
Now it might be like I'm not saying I'm using the whole budget, but we got $1 billion budget. I'm using $5 million for the movie. I'm using $500 million for marketing, and then
I was about to say, like, you can get your hands on some, some actors and some real talent with that kind of money. You can
like who, like Michael Cera,
Christopher Mintz-Plasse. You got yourself a movie.
What about David Spade? Do you think I can afford him?
David Spade, Kevin James,
Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, and of course,
wasn't there a movie already like sort of like that?
Like what?
It was on Netflix with them.
Gee, that's every movie they've been in for the past 20 years.
But it was like a Western type thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Stop.
Stop. I was like, oh, that idea's already taken.
Stop it.
Someone's already made it.
I'm done. I'm done. That was episode 5. G just broke this podcast for all of you, and I apologize. That was episode 5. G, how'd you feel?
I feel good. Got a lot out.
Of course, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, on the Fanema Podcast Network. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on the Google Play Store. You can find us on Fanema.com. You can find us on our YouTube page that may be on the shelf for a little while, Fanema Movies. But you never know. We might. I mean, all the podcasts get uploaded to there as well. Yeah, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Fanema Movies. No space, no underscore. And I'm sending off. This is E. That's G. And we will see you next time. Bye.